How does his father respond? He says, قَالَ أَرَاغِبٌ, you turn away? This is Hamza istifham. That how dare you? This is istifham for ta'ajjub, for tawbih. That how dare you turn away? أَرَاغِبٌ أَنْتَ عَنْ آلِهَتِي يَا Ibrahim? O Ibrahim, you dare to turn away from my gods? Raghibun is from the root letters Ra, Ghain, Ba, Raghba. And Raghba is to incline towards something. And when this word is followed by an, like over here, Raghibun anta an alihati, then it means to turn away from something. To be averse to something. To dislike something. We have learned earlier, وَمَنْ يَرْغَبُ عَنْ مِلَّةِ إِبْرَاهِيمِ. So, أَرَاغِبٌ أَنْتَ عَنْ آلِهَتِي, from my gods, Ya Ibrahim. Notice, Ibrahim a.s. called him Ya Abati. But his father, when he responds to him, he doesn't say Ya Bunayya. What does he say? Ya Ibrahim, how dare you turn away from my gods? لَإِن, surely if, لَمْ تَنْتَهِ, you do not stop. Meaning you do not stop from criticizing me. You do not stop from criticizing my gods. From this new way that you have invented. لَأَرْجُمَنَّكَ, surely I will definitely stone you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to stone you to death. وَهْجُرْنِي مَلِيًّا, and you just leave me for a long period of time. Meaning, I don't want to see your face. Just go away from here. Look at the compassion and the gentleness and the care with which Ibrahim a.s. approached his father. But look at the harsh response that he receives. This is normal. It's very normal. It's possible that you talk to someone very nicely, very kindly. You're trying to come up with an agreement with them. You try to discuss the matter with them. You want them to listen. You want them to accept. But the reaction that you get is so negative. The response that you get is so negative. It's possible. It's possible. Don't be discouraged at that time. Don't begin to doubt yourself. So he says to him, if you don't stop, لَأَرْجُمَنَّكَ. Arjumanna from the root letters, Rajim, Rajim. And Rajim is literally to throw stones at someone. And this is understood in both tangible ways as well as intangible. Tangible, literally throwing stones at someone. And Rajim is a punishment that is given. When a person is stoned to death. When a person is pelted with stones until he dies. So to kill someone by stoning them. And secondly, this word is also used for, in the intangible sense, to curse someone, to reproach someone, to say such harsh words to them that injure them, that hurt them. Just as when somebody throws a stone on you, doesn't it hurt you? Of course. It leaves a mark on your body. Your body hurts. Maybe your body will get bruised. Maybe it'll get cut. Similarly, when harsh words are thrown at someone, even they hurt. And sometimes they hurt much more. So, لَأَرْجُمَنَّكَ, I am going to give it to you, or I am going to kill you. If you don't stop, so you better stop. And if you don't want to stop, then وَهْجُرْنِي مَلِيًّا, then leave me for a long period of time. Uhjurni from the root letters, Hajim Ra. The word hijra is from the same root. To leave. And Maliyya from the root letters Mim, Lam, Waw. And Mali is a long period of time. The word Imla is from the same root. And Imla is to give respite to someone. To delay their time. To keep increasing their time. Do not catch them immediately. To give them one chance after another chance. So, Mali is a long period of time. So, Uhjurni Maliyya, get away from me. I don't want to see your face. Just leave me alone. Now, imagine yourself in this position. You're talking to your parents. You're talking to someone who is very, very beloved to you. And you're telling them something out of sincerity. You really want good for them. And you use the best way to approach them. But this is the response that you get. It's not just that I don't want to listen to you. They say, if you don't stop, I'm going to kill you. Just imagine, somebody threatens to kill you just because of what you say to them. And you know that they mean it. And they say, go away from here. You're being reprimanded for speaking the truth. You're being reproached for living by the truth, for accepting the truth. Now just imagine the grief and the sorrow of Ibrahim a.s. But he was patient for the sake of Allah. This is why he did not lose his respect for his father, even now. Even now, again, when he addressed his father, he was not disrespectful. What does he say? قَالَ سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكَ. He said, "O my father, peace be upon you." Peace be upon you. Why does he say this? For two reasons. First of all, to counter the evil with good. Because what do we learn? When one person deals with you in an evil way, how should you respond to them? In the evil way? No, in a good way. Those who refute evil with good, or those who deal evil with good. When other people deal with them in an evil way, they respond to them in a good way. So this is why he said, Salamun alayka. That peace be upon you, you will not find anything negative from me. If you are harsh towards me, I will not be harsh towards you. If you yell at me, I'm not going to yell at you. If you threaten to kill me, I'm not going to threaten to wage war against you. No, you're not going to receive any harm from me. All that you're going to get from me is salam, salamun alayk. And secondly, he says salamun alayka for the purpose of farewell. Because his father told him, if you want to stay here, you have to stop saying these words. If you continue to say these words, then I'm going to kill you. And if you want to remain on this way of yours, then you have to leave. So what does Ibrahim a.s. choose to do? He chooses to leave. So he says, Salamun alayk. Fine, I'll go. Because think about it. When the other person is not willing to even listen to you, when they're not willing to accept even a little bit, they're so hostile, they're so averse, they're so harsh, then what can you do? Can you try to argue with them? No. Is it going to bring any benefit? Not at all. It's only going to increase the trouble. Imagine if the first response that you get is so harsh, if you continue to discuss with them, what more response are you going to receive? It's going to be even more harsh. So the best way to deal with such situations is of withdrawal. That just leave, go away from there. And this gives us a very important lesson. That when you're talking to someone, and they are only harsh in response, then what should you do? What should you do? Leave. End the conversation right there and then leave. And then maybe bring up that conversation at another point. Don't dwell upon it. Because if you dwell upon it, it's only going to lead to more problems. Sometimes it happens. You're talking to your husband, you're talking to your sister, you're talking to your brother. And you're discussing something with them, you're sharing something with them. But you get such a harsh response. Now at that time, don't argue. Just leave. Just stop. End it right there. قَالَ سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكَ. And he says, سَأَسْتَغْفِرُ لَكَ رَبِّي. Soon I will seek forgiveness for you from my Lord, because إِنَّهُ كَانَ بِي حَفِيًّا. Indeed, He is ever gracious to me. I'm going to seek forgiveness for you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'm very hopeful that He will accept my prayer for you. Because my Lord towards me is very, very kind. Hafi. The word hafi is from the root letters hafawa. And hafawa is to ask about someone while investigating their matters. Like for example, you want to know about why your friend is looking so down. So what do? You ask them, everything okay? She says yes. She doesn't say anything. So what do? Then you ask her sister, is everything okay with her? She says no. Such and such happened yesterday. Now one is that you ignore. Okay, it's her choice. She's in a bad mood, let her be in a bad mood. If you are indifferent towards her bad mood, what does it show? You don't care. Isn't it? Isn't it? But if she has a bad mood and you ask, if you find out, if you investigate, what's the reason? What does it show? That you care. It's not that you're being nosy. What's the reason behind that? That you care for her and you're concerned for her. And this is something that is very necessary. This is very important. So hafi therefore is used for an alim, one who is knowledgeable about something or someone, one who is fully aware, thoroughly conversant about something. And secondly, hafi is also used for someone who is very kind, who is very affectionate, very gracious, always concerned, always asking. Over here, the meaning of hafi is kind. So he is very, very kind to me. He responds to my prayers, and I'm very hopeful that he will respond to this prayer of mine as well. Ibrahim a.s. was halimun, awahun, munibun. Remember, he had such qualities. He was very affectionate, he was very tolerant, he would turn to Allah repeatedly, and he would feel for people a lot. And these qualities are very important for a da'i, someone who's calling people to Allah. Because if he does not care for them, then he will not be able to convey the message to them. We see that Ibrahim a.s., because he is so caring, this is why, what does he say to his father? That salamun alayk, I am going to seek forgiveness from Allah for you. Now a person may wonder that seeking forgiveness for a non-Muslim, is that permissible even? Is that allowed? You see, seeking forgiveness for a non-Muslim, for a person who is not a believer, means praying to Allah to guide them. Okay? Because, think about it. If a person is not a Muslim, the moment they become a Muslim, what's going to happen to all their mistakes? All of their sins. Finished. They're gone. Forgiven. Isn't it? A person is forgiven immediately. So seeking forgiveness for a non-Muslim while he or she is alive means praying to Allah to guide them. But when such a person has died on their belief, then a person is not allowed to seek forgiveness for him or her anymore. As we have learned earlier in Surah At-Tawbah, ayah number 113, that مَا كَانَ لِنَبِيٍّ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَن يَسْتَغْفِرُوا لِلْمُشْرِكِينَ. That it's not permissible for the believers and even the Prophet that they should seek forgiveness for who? For the mushrikeen. وَلَوْ كَانُوا أُولِي قُرْبَى. Even if they are their close relatives. مِن بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُمْ أَنَّهُمْ أَصْحَابُ الْجَحِيمِ. After it has been clarified to them that they are the inmates of Jahim. So, until they're alive, it's our obligation that we must pray for them. We must help them. But once they have passed away, then it's the Yawmul Hasra. No more chances. No more return. Therefore, a person is not allowed to pray after that point, once a person has died in that state. وَأَعْتَزِلُكُمْ. Ibrahim a.s. says, and I will leave you. Meaning, I will not stay with you anymore. You told me, وَهْجُرْنِي مَلِيَّ, fine, I will leave. وَمَا تَدْعُونَ, I will keep away from you, and I will also keep away from who? That which you worship, مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ, besides Allah. I have nothing to do with you anymore, with your ways, with your customs, with your practices. Nor do I have anything to do with these beings that you worship besides Allah. What is my religion? Who do I worship? وَأَدْعُ رَبِّي, and I call upon my Lord, meaning I only worship Allah. Or secondly, أَدْعُ رَبِّي, I pray to Him for your guidance. عَسَى, hopefully, أَلَّا أَكُونَ, that I will not be بِدُعَاءِ رَبِّي, with prayer to my Lord, شَقِيًّا, one who is unblessed. We learned earlier as well, that Zakaria a.s., what did he say? وَلَنْ أَكُنْ بِدُعَائِكَ رَبِّ شَقِيًّا. I have never been unfortunate in praying to you, O my Lord. Similarly, we see that Ibrahim a.s. was also very hopeful. That, O my Lord, in the past, you've never disappointed me. You've always responded to my prayers. So, عَسَى أَلَّا أَكُونَ بِدُعَاءِ رَبِّ شَقِيًّا, meaning I'm very hopeful that He will respond. فَلَمَّا اعْتَزَلَهُمْ, then when He did leave them. He said that He was going to leave them. He was true to their word. He left the people. وَمَا يَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ, and also what they worship besides Allah. What happened? وَهَبْنَا لَهُ, we granted him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gifted him. Who? Ishaq, a son whose name was Ishaq. وَيَعْقُوبَ, and also Yaqub. Who was Yaqub alayhi salam? His grandson. وَكُلًّا جَعَلْنَا نَبِيًّا, and each we made a prophet. He was gifted a child who was made a prophet, he was gifted a grandchild who was also made a prophet. What do we learn from this? That when a person has to leave something, when a person has to leave someone for the sake of Allah, in order to live by the truth, in order to remain committed to it, then he should remember that Allah will always compensate him with something better. Always. This is a promise of Allah. Ibrahim a.s. had to leave his father. But look at how harsh his father was. And on the other hand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him children. Not just children, even grandchildren. And we see that both his son and his grandson, who were they? They were prophets of Allah. وَكُلًّا جَعَلْنَا نَبِيًّا. What a perfect alternate. What a better substitute Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him. But this is only for who? The person who is a siddiq. The person who lives by the truth, no matter what obstacles he faces. Generally what happens? It's the fear of losing people. It's the fear of losing our comfort. It's the fear of losing our money that stops us from living by the truth. If I follow this command of Allah, I might lose my job. If I start wearing the hijab, I might lose this, I might lose that. People are going to start staring at me. People are going to start talking about me. This is the fear, right? That prevents people from obeying the commands of Allah. But what do we learn over here? That when a person does have to suffer from some loss because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah will definitely give him a substitute. And it will be a better substitute. I remember somebody once mentioned to me that they worked at a bank. And when they learned that they should not be working over there, they gave up that job. And it was extremely difficult. But when they gave up that job, they found another job which paid them more money, which was for lesser hours, so they were able to do the course, they were able to make more money, and things improved for them. Now a person might think at that point, I am the sole breadwinner for my family. If I leave this work, where am I going to get money from? But if at that time a person believes that no, this is the truth, I have to do it, I have to live by it, then it's not possible that Allah will leave such a person. It's not possible that Allah will abandon such a person. No. He will give a better solution. He will give a better substitute. Many times we're afraid because of the love of this dunya. But what do we see? Allah will give a better alternate. وَهَبْنَا لَهُ إِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ وَكُلًّا جَعَلْنَا نَبِيًّا وَوَهَبْنَا لَهُم مِّن رَحْمَتِنَا. And we gave them of our mercy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed all of them, meaning Ibrahim a.s., his son and his grandson, all of them Allah blessed with His mercy. What is His mercy? Children, wealth, prestige. وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُمْ. And we made for them لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ, a good reputation. عَلِيَّة, of high honor. What is lisan? Literally it means tongue. But from this the word lisan is also used for words that are uttered. Language that is spoken. And from this it is also used for dhikr, mention. So we made for them lisan, meaning mention. But what kind of mention? How were they spoken about? Sidqin. Sidq, yes, it means truth, but it also means honor. Remember? Qadama sidqin, a position of honor. Maq'ada sidqin, a seat of honor. So lisan sidqin, a good mention, meaning good praise, good reputation, a reputation of high honor. And such reputation that is aliyya, that is high, exalted. So true and honorable dhikr that has remained after them even though they have gone. Think about it. Ibrahim a.s., his son and his grandson, they came so many years ago, isn't it? But still they are spoken about. Still they are praised. And they are praised not just by the Muslims. They are praised by who? By the Christians. And not just the Christians, even the Jews. all of these Abrahamic religions, they look up to Ibrahim a.s. They respect him. وَوَهَبْنَا لَهُم مِّن رَحْمَتِنَا وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُمْ لِسَانَ الصِّدْقٍ عَلِيًّا. What do we think? If we live by the truth, if we speak the truth, we are going to get humiliated. We're going to get insulted. People are not going to look up to us anymore. We're going to lose all of this prestige that we have. People look up to me because I wear such clothes. People look up to me because I speak in this way. If I stop all of this, people are not going to look up to me anymore. But what do we see? That مَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ بَقِيًّا. Whatever is for Allah, when a person does something for Allah, it remains, it lasts, even though many, many years pass by. We'll listen to the recitation and then we'll continue. We see in the previous ayat that the Prophet ﷺ is commanded, وَأَنذِرْهُمْ. Warn the people. Warn the people because they're in ghafla, they do not believe, so wake them up, make them realize the truth, because life is too short and the hereafter is forever. And now we see a practical example of how Ibrahim a.s. did da'wah to his father, to take him out of ghafla, to guide him, to show him the way. Many times it happens that you talk to somebody about the religion, you talk to them, but they get offended right away. Look at the response that the father gives. أَرَاغِبٌ? You dare to turn away? How dare you? How dare you speak up against my gods? And if you don't stop, I'm going to kill you. Look at how offended he becomes. So be prepared for this. It happens many times. It's not always that every time you speak to someone they're going to get offended. Sometimes you will see such reactions. But don't give up over there. You know, sometimes people call at your house, selling some things to you, telemarketers, and they get to hear all sorts of responses. Sometimes people insult them, sometimes they yell at them, sometimes they make them feel bad, sometimes they say, don't dare call here again, take my name off of your list. But what is their response? Do they begin to yell? Have you ever argued with the telemarketer? Have you ever managed to have a fight with them over the phone? No. Because no matter what you say to them, they remain calm, right? They remain firm. They say, have a good day, we'll speak again. We'll call back. Even if you tell them don't call back, they will call again. They don't give up. Who can be like this? A person who is determined, a person who is focused on his mission. If he gets lost, oh, look at the way he's talking to me, I'm so hurt. You cannot continue like this. You have to have your eyes focused on the mission. I have to sell this product. Then no matter what people say, you're not going to feel weak. Telemarketers, they're very determined, very nice and polite because they know that their conversations are being recorded. And if something goes wrong, they will be held accountable. And we have to remember as well that when we're doing da'wah, our conversation is also being recorded. Allah is watching us. You see, in the first instant, we learned about how to raise children, right? From the story of Yahya alayhi salam. And now we see how to treat your parents, how to call them, how to invite them. Both are necessary for every single person. Fatima?
I was just thinking that sometimes it's not our family members, sometimes it's us. So sometimes we come up to our parents and they're cooking, they're very stressed, and you're giving da'wah to them, then it's not the best time. Or when your brother's watching a playoff game or something and you come in front of him, he's not going to want to listen to you. So it's not his fault, it's your fault at that time. So pick a nice time to...
Exactly. Wisdom must be there. That the topics that you choose to discuss, the way you discuss, the time that you discuss in, all these things must be considered.
I'm just thinking Ibrahim Islam's positive mindset just on dua. Like, he has such a positive attitude towards dua that my Rabb, he always listens to me. He's very kind. My duas never get ignored. And for us, just even before we make dua, there's such a negative mindset that my duas never get accepted. What's the point? But I'll make it anyway. And then we ask, why do our duas not get accepted?
Exactly. That he says, إِنَّهُ كَانَ بِي حَفِيًّا. He's so kind to me. He always responds to my du'as. And we see that Ibrahim a.s. fulfilled his promise. He did make dua for his father. So many places in the Quran, the du'as of Ibrahim a.s. are mentioned. For instance, in Surah Ibrahim, ayah 41, we learned earlier, رَبَّنَا اغْفِرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيَّ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَوْمَ يَقُومُ الْحِسَابِ. Similarly, we learned in Surah Ash-Shu'ara, ayah number 86, that وَاغْفِرْ لِأَبِي إِنَّهُ كَانَ مِنَ الضَّالِّينَ. He prayed for his father. And later on, he was told not to when his father died in that state. So look at the concern that he had for his father. that even though his father rejected him, he was so harsh to him, he didn't stop making dua. What happens to us? If we talk to someone, they refuse, we're like, they're going to go to hellfire, forget them. I don't want to waste my time over them. But we see that Ibrahim a.s., he's so concerned for his father, that although his father refused, he still prays for him, that Ya Allah, guide him. Because a person who really wants hidayah for the other, he will never stop. He will have this well-wishing burning inside of him until he dies.
Assalamu alaikum. I was just thinking how in order for a person to become expert at something, they have to go through experience. It's not that the first time they do it that they become an expert. So it's not that you go out there and then you give dawah and you say, for example, if they're rude to you, then that's it, you give up. No. You have to expose yourself to these situations often, and that only increases you in iman. And another thing was that when the father of Ibrahim a.s. said that, I will stone you if you don't leave right now, then he didn't think twice, okay, my father is really important to me and, I should stay, I should think about what I'm doing. No, he just said, Assalamu alaikum,
Because he was Siddiq. He was determined. He was very truthful. He was firm in his faith. He wasn't going to leave it, no matter what people said, no matter how much they threatened. Imagine somebody tells you on your face, you're going to get killed. We hear you might lose your job. You might face a lot of difficulty. And that's enough to stop us.
Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to give one point, how he was Siddiq, how he was so truthful. Sometimes when we're faced and we're asked, okay, you know what, did you do this? And you're going to have to tell the truth, even if it's against yourself. Sometimes you say, you know what, I don't think, if I tell a lie, maybe it's just a white lie, I can get through it. But even having those things, when you start to tell the truth all the time, people start to believe everything you say. And even though you get harmed in the short term, the long term, people start to say, okay, you know what, I can rely on her, I can rely on him. He's telling the truth no matter what he does.
Exactly. A person becomes reliable. He has a good reputation. He's trustworthy. People believe him no matter what he says.